So Medea Benjamin and I wrote an article on September the 20th, coinciding with the school strike, and we called it Global Climate Action's Biggest Obstacle is US Foreign Policy. Unfortunately, the US, which has actually emitted the most harmful greenhouse gases historically, has really refused to be part of the solution. This is not something the people of the US have done, it is our government. Successive administrations have essentially employed a bait and switch strategy. First, to refuse to be part of the Kyoto Agreement in the 1990s, and then when under Obama the US became part of the Copenhagen Accord and the Paris Accord, the price for US participation was that instead of everybody agreeing to a binding international treaty that would actually solve the problem, instead, on the insistence of the US, the Copenhagen and Paris Accords were only based on a much more flexible model in which each country would come up with its own voluntary targets and then try to meet them, with no real penalties for countries that didn't meet their targets. It was all entirely voluntary. And so the Paris Agreement did not really solve the problem in the first place, and now the US has dropped out of it. So in effect, this is why we called it in our article a bait and switch strategy. On one agreement, the US says, no, we're not going to be part of it. Then it says, okay, we'll be part of it, but we need a much weaker agreement because we can't agree to a stricter one. Then once it's got the whole world to dumb everything down to a weak agreement that isn't going to solve the problem, then along comes another US administration and says, well, actually, forget it, we're not going to be part of it anyway. So the net effect is that while the US is bound by no agreement whatsoever, the efforts of the rest of the world to actually come up with a solution are undermined by the US participation in the agreements it has agreed to. So in the end, the US has played nothing but a negative role in all of this.